I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Village Board for September 22nd, 2020. Can you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Village Clerk, would you please call the roll? Village Clerk, would you please call the roll?
President DeSimone,
Here.
Trustee Carmona,
Here.
Trustee Franz,
Here.
Trustee Fry,
Here.
Trustee Lomax,
Here.
Trustee Penicola,
Here.
Trustee Perez.
Here.
That's 7.
At this time, we'll move to public comment. Does anyone wish to address the board? If so, please approach the podium and state your name. Do we have public comment?
We've received no public comment nor submitted email public comment tonight.
This will conclude our public comment. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the September 8th, 2020 Village Board meeting?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any modifications to the minutes? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona,
Yes.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 6.
The motion carries and the minutes are approved. The next item of business is to approve the warrant in the amount of $1,769,442.53. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
Motion.
Is there a second?
You have a second?
Is there any discussion on the warrant? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona,
Yes.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and the warrant is approved. There are no items on the consent agenda. Under Community and Economic Development is an ordinance approving a variation to allow a fence in the corner side yard at 340 South Park Street, Bentonville, Illinois. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion, any second, is there discussion?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We have Scott Viger, Director of Community and Economic Development. He has joined the Zoom call. Scott, I'll hand the floor over to you. Stand by, we're connecting to audio. Scott, you there? Scott, are you with us? Seem to be having a slight technical difficulty. Scott, can you hear us?
He's got audio.
Can you handle it, Evan, or no?
Should we kick him out and re-admit him? All right, we're going to kick Scott out and then re-admit him.
Technology. Have to love it.
Always something, right? Scott's going to try to rejoin here in a second.
The Zoom work.
I don't know who that phone number is. You know what, Your Honor? If we can hold off on this one, we can move up to Luigi's item number B4.
Move the presentation.
Yeah, the presentation.
Okay, so do I have to vote on this, Joe, or anything, or can we just hold off? I can't hear him.
If there's consensus to move down to item number 4, you can just move down to item number 4. Does anyone have any objections to moving to item 4? Okay, let's move to item 4.
Okay, so item 4 is a presentation of the proposed mixed-use redevelopment of 101 West Main Street and adjacent properties. So there will now be a presentation on the mixed-use development proposed at 101 West Main Street. I guess Mr. Viger won't be able to do that, so go ahead and begin the presentation.
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce Luigi Sardoni from LV Developments. Luigi has the property located at Main and Center that's owned by the village under an LOI right now. This is his first presentation to the board on his vision for the property. By no means is this the end product, so to speak. This hasn't been permitted. This is just to get board's feedback and bring him up to speed on what his vision is for the property. So I'll hand it over to Mr. Sardoni.
Good evening, everybody. Dear official and friend of Bentonville, thank you for being here tonight. I'm happy to be here tonight and present the progress of this project. The hope and the dreams for Bentonville is the project that is being created over several years. The building will be a glorious, iconic addition to the city of Bentonville that will all can be proud of. It will be a stellar addition to the landscaping besides the new tax revenue, of course. The building will a new landmark construction for years to come, make Bentonville a more desirable place to live, improving the quality of the life to all. The cooperation from my partner, Victor Hernandez, was so many years looking for somebody. Finally, I found the person, the right person. As Victor Hernandez, please stand up. And the genius, I can say genius because everybody knows in town that I'm worked for so many years for something different, and was hard to find the right architect. Finally, I found the genius architect, Statis Karavalos, made this dream of mine come true, and for the city of Bentonville that I love. Thank you. Please, Steve. Genius. Genius with the genius. Thank you.
All right, Steve, thank you for joining us. You'll be walking us through this presentation tonight.
Yes, can everybody hear me?
As long as you're on that mic, it'll pick you up. It won't pick you up sitting where you're at.
Okay. Yeah, we started to do the schematics on this building based on the actual RFP that was issued back, I think a couple of years back from the village of Bensonville. And we read through and we created something, I think, beyond what they expected to get. I think that what they had was a low-key type of building. We decided to really take it a step farther and design something more of a statutory form, something more of a monumental and aesthetically pleasing building that's going to accommodate the Bensonville community, and they will bring people back into the downtown Bensonville area, which was the intent that was driven by everybody at the time. The design, we came up with a 9-story tower, mid height.
Steve, can you let us know when you want to advance the slides?
We'll, yeah. So the first phase we did was only half of that, of the area that we are taking up now. It was around 34,000 square feet, and now the total area is up to 64,000. So we're taking up the entire block. And we decided to change the design, the first design, into creating a courtyard area, which will serve as a indoor-outdoor space that is going to be a part of the overall setup and coordination between exterior and interior spaces, and all the unique, all the units and residential occupants will be very pleased to have that specific space to share. The accessibility to the building, it's number one item that we took under the considerations. And we have, obviously, it was very important that we have access to the building from all streets and all directions. And we have done exactly that. And the next item on the list is the building function, which is a major item. And the function, obviously, and accessibility will serve everybody, everyone. All the ADA requirements will be met. We want the building to be accessible and barrier-free. So that is a major consideration, and we've done that. We also created exterior landscaped areas and interior courtyard areas that are going to be pleasant and very and type of recreational area that you would use for as outdoor space, or in the wintertime you will be sheltered, and it can be used instead of just a seasonal space. It would be used as a total all year round type of space that we can we have in the building. Third item is public safety and health. Very, very important that we have the public is safe and the building is going to be environmentally safe. It's going to create a very much a high energy efficient design, LEED construction considerations, green design, and it's going to have all that on the rooftop areas and throughout the whole building. Okay. The structural system, we are going to go with a type 2 construction, non-combustible. Yeah, you can just roll forward. We're trying to shorten this thing a little bit.
I'll let them know.
Okay. And structural integrity of the building is very important. We want to make sure the building is going to be here for a long time, and that it's going to be a type 2 construction with all the structural elements highly rated, fire rated, and also all the exterior of the building will be fire rated. Interior units will have separations. And the next item with that, it would be noise control, noise attenuation from exterior and from interior, because what we've decided to do is to let the interior become more of a interactional type of a design where people will be walking along the corridors of their units and actually oversee the courtyard without having a total enclosure. And that makes it more of a playful and I want to say come together type of a setting. The building security systems and buildings control systems, we want to control the areas of the residential areas that will be under control. Make sure that we have entrances to the residential private entrance, and then not everybody actually will be able to have access directly up into the into the entire all the floors of the building. It's going to be secured, and the residents are going to be all privately entering the building. The visual qualities of this building and the exterior aesthetics is created so that we have exciting areas created as far as recreation. We are connecting the rooftop, the recreational area of the rooftop, and the actual ground areas of the restaurants and retail with a panoramic elevator that's going to be giving you a nice, beautiful outdoor view of the entire 360-degree visual view of what's going on the outside. And since we're very, very close to the airport It will give you view of all the landings and all the planes coming, coming and going, and the runway and all that. It's going to make it very interesting. So, 40 is going to bring you up to date on the lead area construction of the building as we have designed the rooftop to be. And also a lot of the areas we incorporate some of the elements of the lead construction into it. He is lead registered, and he will touch on the subject a little bit.
Thank you, Steffi. To start, at a minimum, of course, we'll be meeting the energy conservation requirements of Illinois and any local jurisdictions. But we're really excited about the opportunities that we have here to present in this design as far as LEED goes. We're looking to incorporate renewable energy with solar panels and photovoltaic panels within a glass structure on the roof. This will allow us to store lots of energy. As you can see, there's a lot of sun that if we face them east to west, we'll get a lot of coverage, and we'll be able to, at a minimum, provide energy for common lighting in the building. With the extensive and intensive green roofs that we plan to use and design for, we'll be contributing to the heat island reduction that such a large building can create, which is really important. And of course, we want to consider the environmental impacts on the surrounding areas. So that's really important. And to do that, we plan to incorporate bicycle facilities and incorporate that into the neighborhood development, as well as rainwater management and water reclamation. This is something that Luigi is passionate about, and he really wants us to incorporate that into the design.
Let's get caught up to where the pictures that you want to show are.
Sure. So we can just, if you want to go back just to the first floor plan, ground floor, and Steffi can kind of walk us through the concept of the first floor plan and the layout of the interior courtyard.
Okay, so what we have done is we created a ground floor area with the courtyard, the retail space, which is around 22,000 square feet, and that's a nice size of a small strip center. The whole area can be, with shops and restaurants, and it can actually serve the building, and the occupants can actually sustain. They don't have to really drive away from this building to go shopping for something that they need readily available. They can spend, recreational time in the restaurant that we are planning on doing, which is the ground floor, a unique design, which Luigi brought up. We're going to be doing something like a catacomb type of a restaurant. That's going to be ground floor and the floor below. And then we're going to have the elevator, the panoramic elevator connecting the top with the rooftop recreational areas and the ground floor restaurant. The building elevators, there's 6 elevators. 2 of them are going to be service elevator, and 4 of them are going to be carrying the residents through.
Luigi, where do you want us to be? You're showing us a picture that.
The top floor will be shown the panoramic, and then the next one is the show of the panoramic. This is the courtyard inside. You can walk and up there.
Okay, Luigi, the board can't hear you though, so if you're gonna.
Yeah. We have see that rendering, the last rendering is an aerial view of what's going on up on the roofs. We have a green roof up there. We have a lower roof that's going to be the recreational areas, and it's going to be interior, exterior. From the restaurant, we could be walking out into a recreational area. It's going to be exterior rooftop. And you can actually walk all around the whole a barrel dome that you're going to have looking down into the courtyard area. So it makes it very interesting for people to be up there and actually, entertain. And the other thing is, with the solar panels that we have, all these areas with the solar panels is a very good asset because we are going to be using it for all the exterior lighting for the building and all the common recreational lighting and all that. So we have enough area. We have not done the calculations as of yet, but we will be doing that when we start the design development phase. So you go, yeah, we can go back. Yeah. So you can see that the building presents a very towering effect that is going to create, complement the area, also create a monumental look, aesthetic value that's going to be a plus for the downtown area here. We feel that this is something that we needed to do, and I think we successfully have been very, very good in doing. So, yeah, you can do the court. You see the courtyard. The courtyard is wide enough and long enough now to be able to serve, a good amount of people, and people from the occupants can come down and enjoy themselves, sitting outside from the restaurants and actually walk along the shops. And that again is another good asset that they can have on a long day from downtown. Coming down and working downtown and coming back, they don't need to go anywhere but stay in the building here. So it's very important. So the other item that we were very pleased in doing is that we are going to have energy efficient surfaces, and in the winter time we are planning on actually creating all the surfaces that exterior, interior, they're all going to be heated. And also the ramps going down, which I didn't mention, the parking garage is a 2-story with the possibility of becoming a 3-story garage. So that is going to be something that we can look at because it's we want to have 1 parking space per bedroom, and we have 220 units, and about over half of them are 2-bedroom, and less than half are 1 bedroom. So we're going to need another level to go down 3 levels. It's going to obviously become a little more involved as far as the excavation and the structural. However, we will do it if the client wants us to. We can go ahead and change it to a 3-story parking garage. Right now we have like 188 parking spaces in the 2 levels that we have. And we got 4 ramps connecting the 2 levels. And if we're going to go down another level, obviously, we're going to gain another maybe 95 parking spaces. So that's going to be enough for the entire building to have 1 parking per bedroom. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the building occupants, we want them to feel like they are a part of the community. We want them to feel the closeness and interaction between the occupants. So that's why the building is designed the way it is, without major separations in the corridors and all that. That was one of the intents that we wanted to do, to bring people together. And I think that this will be really, really a major asset to the downtown area here. People will be coming and actually stay for the night. I mean, spend the night at the building. It will be like a major asset. I keep visualizing this building during Christmas time, how decorative it can be. and how it can really make a statement. So that's all. That's about what I have to say. If anything, if you have anything else you want to say.
I thank you. I think you summed it up very well at the end. This would definitely make a statement. It would completely revitalize our downtown. It would be a monument to Bensonville and to your all's efforts. So this is, like I said, it's just the first time we're bringing this in front of the board. The board hasn't seen this concept yet. I think we're excited on the staff level to see if we can get this across the finish line. And does the board have any questions for the development team tonight, or Your Honor, do you have any questions or want to make a statement?
Like I said, if this does come to fruition, it will be a statement piece for downtown and possibly spark some further interest in redevelopment downtown, is what everybody's always talked about, and it really has never come to fruition. So we're going to work hand in hand with them the best we can. Let's get this going, gentlemen, and we look forward to the groundbreaking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Luigi.
very much.
Thank
I
you.
do have a question.
please.
If we do go forward with this, when are we looking at hopefully being able to break ground, as well as how long will the construction be?
So currently, we have the property only under LOI, letter of intent. We would need to convert that LOI over into a purchase sale agreement. And then at that point, there would be milestones for permitting. There's boundary variances, we know that. And so we'll have to go through that process. So we still have quite a bit of ways to go. This will not, we won't be breaking ground this year, that's for sure. But Luigi is a very aggressive guy. He's shown that. He's put money towards this project, money that's already gone hard. So we are monetizing the property, and we fully intend that Luigi's not gonna let his money go bad. So he'll push forward, I assume.
And just so you guys know, at the board level, we've had many people show interest in that corner, but no one has put money up like Luigi's group has done. So, I mean, that shows us that they're serious about it, and they're going to hopefully go through with it.
This is exciting, man. Very exciting.
I agree. I agree.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
And thank
Can
you
I-
for your time. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just one more thing, leaving you guys with a little parting gift. So I'm going to leave these around. I'm going to leave these around. If you just scan the QR code, you can have your own little personal virtual reality tour of the courtyard.
Oh, great.
I'll leave it there.
Why don't we
cool.
put those in the trustees' mailboxes?
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Now
you
we
very
have
much.
Mr. Viger joining us via phone. Can we unmute Mr. Viger? Is that possible to do?
I'll make sure. Give me one. Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Here we go.
Hi.
I think you have me now.
All right,
Yes,
so
yeah,
should we go ahead and just recall this then, Joe?
We can go back to item number 1.
Okay, so let's go back and we'll just recall it. So item number 1 is an ordinance approving a variation to allow a fence in the corner side yard at 340 South Park Street, Bensonville, Illinois. I know we did this once, but is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
There being a motion and a second. Scott, we have discussion?
Yes, I apologize for my technical difficulties, Your Honor. This is a single-family house on the northwest corner of Memorial and Park. There's an existing older, unattractive, frankly, chain link fence in the corner side yard, which is along Memorial. The homeowner applied for a building permit to remove and replace that existing non-conforming fence with a more attractive 6-foot privacy fence, which of course triggered the need for this variation to go from a existing fence in the corner side yard to a newer fence. They had a public hearing on the 1st of September before the CDC. There were no objectors present at that meeting. The CDC found that he met the burden of proof under the hardship for a variation and recommended that the variation to have the 6-foot PVC fence approved 4-0. We had what has become our standard in situations like this, setback of 3 feet. There is a public sidewalk along Memorial, and that 3-foot setback have some landscaping in there to buffer the fence. And then the third condition being that the 6-foot fence be 5 foot of solid, in this case PVC, with a 1-foot lattice on the top for security purposes. I should have mentioned the staff had recommended approval of this at the CDC, And then, as I said, the CDC recommended 4-0 that it be approved as well.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Panicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and the ordinance is passed. Number 2 is ordinance granting a special use permit to allow a gun sales establishment at 205 West Grand Avenue, Suite 117, Bensville, Illinois. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Give a second.
There being a motion and a second, any discussion?
I'm sorry. This is in the White Pines office court, as you said, Mayor, at 205 Grand Avenue. It's a little bit of a misnomer. The petitioner, A. Wade, is training and tactical, conducts training classes in the small 907 square foot office building space there in the office court. In the minutes, you'll notice that in the CDC public hearing, he testified that during the coronavirus, he applied to the ATF to be a gun sales fellow so that he could sell the firearms that his students purchase to them. And I'm not 100% up to speed on all the intricacies of the federal statutes on that, but it's my understanding that when they do that, order those firearms from out of state, they have to go to a licensed dealer. So A-Way Training and Tactical is seeking the ATF approval to be that licensed dealer, and then the ATF contacts us, and we say yes. If he does sell any firearms here in the village of Bensenville, he does have to be a special use permit for a gun sales establishment, as our code calls it. So he says he has between 4 and 10 students per week. We have a testimony and a condition in our recommendation for approval that this would not be as we call it, a retail firearms seller where I could walk in off the street and purchase firearms for the sole purpose of providing those firearms to the students he trains. Did have the public hearing again on the 1st of September. There were no objectors. The staff found that he met the burden of proof under the special use criteria in the zoning ordinance, and we did recommend approval. The CDC recommended approval of special use with those conditions about not being a retail operation per se, 4-0, and we recommend that this be approved.
So just so the board is comfortable with it, it's not going to be a store with display cases of guns. So he's going to.
Correct. Yes, sir.
When they come in, he's going to sell them to the students that he has, and it's all covered by the federal government. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir, you're correct.
Any questions from the board?
Now, is this going to be like, is this going to be somewhat of a gun range, or what are we looking at here?
It's too small, but it's only 900 square feet. So all he does is conduct safety, I would say, safety textbook training, right? Am I right on that?
Correct. So this is
Yes.
concealed carry. Most of his customers are concealed carry, seeking their concealed carry permit. So they do the classroom portion here, and then he rents out range space at local area ranges.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Panicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and ordinance is passed. Number 3 is an ordinance granting a variation to allow a pole sign at 3 North 784 Church Road, Bensenville, Illinois. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
You have a second.
There being a motion and a second, discussion, please.
Yes, Your Honor, this is the historic one-room schoolhouse on Church Road. Little odd scenario. It is in fact owned and operated by the city of Elmhurst and the Historical Society in Elmhurst, but it is within our jurisdiction. As your green sheet and package says, they are requesting a period appropriate sign to go with the historic school. That period sign unfortunately runs afoul of our no pole sign criteria in our zoning ordinance, as it has 2 posts, one on either side, as opposed to a solid base as a quote-unquote monument type sign. So that's the purpose of the variation. The staff has no problem with the request. We found that they did meet the burden of proof under the zoning ordinance for that. The CDC on the 1st of September concurred with the staff recommendation. You do have a photograph sign in your packet. It's only 5 feet tall and I believe 15 square feet. It's historic in nature. We found it to be attractive and we recommend it be approved.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and ordinance is passed. Moving on to finances, a resolution receiving and placing on file the Village of Bensonville's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, CAFR, and management letter for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
You have a second.
There being a motion and a second, any discussion?
So like I mentioned before, all of you will be receiving your CAFR. They got delivered today. We have Dave Jelonic from GW and Associates he's a partner of GW and Associates, to present his findings to the board this evening. And then Finance Director McManus will follow up with a short presentation relating to the village's finances. Mr. Jelonic, you have the floor.
All right, good evening. It's always a homecoming when I come to Bensonville. Most of the first 5 years of my life were spent as residents, so always good to be back in the village. Tonight, I present the 2019 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the village. The report follows pretty much the same format as last year's report. First section is the introductory section, which features principal official listing, organizational chart, transmittal letter signed by the village manager and finance director, and then the certificate of excellence in financial reporting from the Government Finance Officers of America, which was received for last year's comprehensive annual financial report. The financial section then follows that. That features the audit opinion, the management's discussion and analysis, financial statements, notes to the financial statements, required supplementary information and individual and combining schedules, as well as supplemental schedules of debt service, and then follows up with the last section, the statistical section, which features financial, tax, debt, demographic, and operating indicator information. The first area I will direct you to will be the audit opinion, which is after the introductory section. And that particular item is our independent auditor's report. We have issued an unmodified opinion. That means a clean opinion. That means that we feel that the balances presented in this report are fairly representative of the financial position of the village as of December 31st, 2019.
Dave's not allowed to say it, but that's a good thing. That's a very good thing for us. He has to put it in a special auditor way, but clean opinion and the unmodified opinion is what we're always shooting for.
Correct. I won't go into too much detail with the management discussion and analysis. You can read that on your own. Just give some broken down areas of importance, talks about the basic financial statements as well as some budgetary items, debt and capital assets. Turning to page 3, that is where the basic financial statements begin. Pages 3 through 5 are the government-wide financial statements.
Dave, they don't have copies of this, so you just want to keep it a high level.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you. On those statements, pages 3 through 5, governmental activities are just presented, basically all of the governmental funds. So the general fund, Parks and Recreation Fund, all the TIFs, special service areas, motor fuel tax, that's all presented in the governmental activities on a full accrual basis, which means in these statements, the capital assets are valued as are long-term debt and pension-related items. Governmental funds, which we'll get to in a moment, those are presented on the modified accrual basis. So items such as capital assets, long-term debt, they are not presented in those statements. But this is split into 2 columns, governmental and business type. That's the utility fund, the commuter parking, and the Refuse and Recycling Fund, all combined and presented. At the end of the year, both types of activities had positive equity of 64.2 million for governmental activities and 73.7 million for business type activities. The statement of activities is basically the income statement of the governmental or of the government-wide statements. The change in that position there were both positive for governmental and business type activities. Governmental activities added 8.9 million to equity and business type added 2.9 million. Turning to the governmental funds, the balance sheet at year end, total governmental fund balance equity was 37.8 million. 18.9 million of that was in the general fund, which obviously is a strong fund balance, especially at the end of 2019 going into 2020 with the challenges I'm sure that the COVID pandemic has presented not only to you, but neighboring communities as well. Presented in that balance sheet are the general fund, Parks and Rec, motor fuel tax, debt service, capital improvement, and TIF 7, the Irving Park and Church Road TIF. Those are known as major funds. All the other funds for governmental funds are non-major. Major funds are determined either via calculation, where assets, liabilities, revenues, or expenditures are 10% of the total governmental amount and 5% of the government's total as a whole. Turning to the income statement, in total, governmental funds added $7 million of equity. A large chunk of that was Parks and Recreation of 3.3 million. There was a new fund I want to point out this year, the Motor Fuel Tax Fund. That used to be reported in with the general fund. That was broken out this year to clearly show Motor Fuel Tax Fund activity. And that had a fund balance at year end of 1.9 million. Past the governmental funds is the proprietary funds. Again, those were the funds that totaled in the business type column of the government-wide statements. The utility fund at year end had 73.4 million in total net position, so ending equity, and non-major funds, the commuter parking and recycling and refuse funds are lumped together in that non-major column. Combined, they were about $300,000 in total. Turning to the income statement for proprietary funds, the utility fund added 2.9 million in 2019, while collectively the non-major funds added about 43,000 to ending equity. Following that is a statement of cash flows, and then after that is a statement of fiduciary net position. The Police Pension Trust Fund is reported there. That was audited by other auditors, but is shown here as a fiduciary fund. Also in this fund is the agency fund, which is the village's escrow fund, where assets equal liabilities. After the financial statements are the notes to the financial statements. Those present some additional information on major balances such as cash, investments, capital assets, debt, interfunds, pension, and other post-employment benefits. I won't go into too much detail there. After the notes are what's called the required supplementary information, and that presents schedules for the police pension, the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund pension, other post-employment benefits, as well as budgetary schedules of the general fund, Parks and Recreation Fund, and the Motor Fuel Tax Fund. After the required supplementary area are individual and combining statements, presenting some budgetary schedules there as well. Following that are debt schedules, which show debt obligations for each of the issuances of the village. And then the last section is the statistical section, which provides some additional information for the financial statement user.
Exhilarating, Dave. Exhilarating.
I could tell when the crowd left. It was,
Right.
But
Is this when we do the standing ovation, or how does that work?
I think it's worthy of a standing ovation. I think, but I would like to thank, especially, this is a big endeavor when we do a CAFR for any of our clients. I do want to thank Julie for her help in the process, Evan, Sharon, as well as everyone else in the finance department. We asked for a lot of materials during the audit to tie out these balances, and everyone was very helpful in achieving that goal on our end as well. So we want to thank everyone for their cooperation,
And likewise,
especially during this time.
right. Likewise, Dave, you just touched on it. Doing an audit, it's very hands-on. Auditors are in our building, they're in our file cabinets, they're in our computer servers. It's very intimate, may not be the right word, but it gets to feel that way. Typically, we do the audit way back in the spring, but because of the pandemic, GW and Associates is forced to do a lot of this remotely, which is difficult. It's difficult to ask those questions that we're always trying to communicate with. So his team, your team did a great job. I heard nothing but compliments from the finance department of how professional they were in dealing with the pandemic. So thank you for that. And likewise, just so the board knows, this was supposed to be the last year of our agreement with GW and Associates. I typically like to rotate our auditors. Because I don't foresee this pandemic ending next spring, I'm going to, at a future date, bring to the board a one-year extension with GW, just because they do have the knowledge of how the village works. It would be very difficult for us to onboard a new firm in this time. So we'll look to be seeing Dave for at least another year.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does
Thank
anyone
you,
have any questions for Dave? All right, we're gonna have Julie kind of follow up with just kind of a check-in with what all this means to us on a dollars and cents side, and she has a short 3-slide presentation. Corey, thank you.
I'll try to be fast. The first slide I have shows the government-wide scenario, and that is basically all of our funds, all of our entities, all of our debt, all of our assets, all blended together to give us the government version of net worth. We started out with 126 million. We added 11.8 million to that, and we ended up with 137 million. Of the 11 million that came in, I think Dave already said this, 8.9 came from the government side and 2.9 came from the business side. An important thing to note in this year's audit is where our unrestricted net position was on the governmental side. The unrestricted net position kind of gives you an idea of where we stand between our assets and our debt. Last year, that was negative. It was 2.6 million. This year, we ended with a $1.7 million positive unrestricted assets. From a generic standpoint, that kind of tells us that if everything were to stop today, we were to sell our assets, we'd be able to take care of all of our obligations, including pensions, including any of the post-retirement benefits, which plagued us in many governments coming up to this point. That's really why we had the negative coming into this year, was because they made us recognize all of the pensions we owed. This tells us that we're in a really good position here as we move forward because we're gaining on that. Additionally, at this level, we gained $4.8 million worth of assets, and we did not take on any debt to do that. Next slide, Corey. Now to break it down a little bit, I'm just going to look at the general fund, and then I'm going to look at the water and sewer fund. Those are our two major funds. Those are the ones that we're most concerned about. On the general fund side, we started out with a fund balance of 20.8 million. We had revenues over expenditures of about 4.3 million. We did transfers of 6.2 million out of the fund, and we ended up with about $19 million. As far as the operations were concerned, we brought in $4.3 million. That exceeded budget by $3 million. That's broken down as, on the revenue side, we came in $1.3 million over budget. Significant things that added to that were we got a lot more income tax and other intergovernmental revenues that we did not anticipate. And the police revenues were way over what we projected. We did transfers out this year. We kind of changed some things, like Dave mentioned. We moved the motor fuel tax into its own fund. That's so that we can isolate it and track it the way it's supposed to be tracked, so that if they come in and audit it, they can audit it separately. We also did a transfer out to Parks and Rec, which is basically the Edge. Previously, the Edge showed a negative balance because we had taken so much out of the Edge and moved it over to the general fund that it didn't show it was sustaining itself. I took all the activity and moved it back to Parks and Rec so we can start treating that as an entity that we have to foster to generate more revenue for the government itself. Excuse me. The other thing is the unassigned fund balance. The unassigned fund balance is that balance which we have not allocated to anything. That came in at 14.4 million this year. That's $4.7 million more than it was before. Part of the reason it's up is because we discussed a $2.5 million contingency reserve we previously had. We couldn't find the roots of that contingency reserve and we released it to unassigned. But the other part was due to good operations. And that 14.4 million is well above the 4.1 million that we require as a reserve that has to maintain. So we have like $10 million to address ongoing issues going forward for the pandemic and everything else. Next slide, Corey. I am just so not used to wearing this thing.
You're doing fine.
On the water sewer side, the fund balance started at 70.4 million. We had income before transfers of 3 million, transfers out of only 152 for an ending fund balance of 73.3 million. That's a $3 million addition on our fund balance, on the water sewer side. Revenues actually came in lower than budget by 1.6 million. That was a dynamic in that we thought we were going to do a rate increase that never occurred, and we got less usage of water, so the revenues came in less than it was supposed to. Operating expenditures were 663,000 better than we had planned. Again, all departments performed very well. We made principal payments of 2.1 million. We made capital expenditures of 2.2 million. We left 2.9 million dollars of the planned capital expenses to move into 2020. And depreciation was 1.6 million. Transfers out on the water sewer side are not that big. Basically, the biggest one we have is they send money to the general fund to cover administration of 250,000. On the water sewer side, that unrestricted fund balance, which is what we consider the money we can allocate to new things, went up about $500,000 to 8.9 million, which is well above, again, the 2.8 million we're required to reserve. So we're in a good position moving forward all around.
Yeah, so we can just go back to the other side. Thank you, Julie, for your presentation. Yes, slide 2. Yeah. I think I've told you guys before, the 2021 budget is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for all governments. But because of the several years of great operations here at the village, I think last year we had every single department came in under budget. Every single department came in under budget. That's going to give us enough cushion to weather this storm with COVID-19. Most towns, well, a lot of towns here, I know a lot of managers are panicking because they're seeing revenue hits and they're not seeing the areas to cut expenses. We've been doing that. That's been our practice. That's going to be our practice going forward. So because of the strong financial position that you guys have allowed us to attain, we're going to be able to weather this storm and serve our residents better. So I want to give a lot of credit to you guys for empowering us and encouraging us to make those efficiencies where we can. So thank you, board, for that. Does anyone have any questions for Julie or Dave at this point? Your Honor, that ends that item. No, actually, we're looking for a we need to call
the roll.
Yep.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona,
Yes.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries. Resolution is approved. Great job, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Under the Police Department is an ordinance of the Village of Bettsville, DuPage, and Cook County, Illinois, Chapter 1 of Title 4 of the Bettsville Village Code to regulate the sworn positions of the Police Department. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, Chief, you have a discussion on this?
Just a short one, Your Honor. This is just another initiative that we've taken to try and get more police officers on the street at no extra cost to the village, kind of a takeoff on what Evan has just suggested. Over the course of time, the police department has been reduced from 45 sworn down to 35 sworn, but the rank was never adjusted. So we ended up with more sergeants than we actually needed. So we're going to rotate a sergeant back to the street, hire patrolmen in their place, and put the patrolmen on the street when they clear the academy, which, just for the good of the order, the academy closed down today due to COVID for 14 days. So our trainee is coming back to good old Bensonville for 2 weeks. But other than that, that's what we're doing, and we're hoping to put more police back on the street at no additional cost to the taxpayers.
Thank you, Chief. I think it's a great initiative. This is a great way that we can control our expenses while also serving our residents better. So thank you for that.
Any questions from our board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona,
Yes.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries. The ordinance is passed. Public Works is a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Corrective Asphalt Materials LLC for the 2020 Pavement Preventative Maintenance Program in the amount of $54,344.25. Is there a motion?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
There being a motion and a second, Joe, you have discussion for us?
Joe.
You're muted, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
Sounds better when you're muted, though.
Thank you. You always have a way to bolster me up a little bit. Asphalt rejuvenator. So this is a process aimed at extending the life of our asphalt roadways. When used at the right time, which is usually about 2 to 3 years after the installation of the pavement, the process restores the original characteristics of a freshly paved roadway. Reclamite is the product that we use. It's an emulsion made of oil and resins that were developed to penetrate those top layers of the pavement and reintroduce its plasticity and its flexibility to the pavement, which will hopefully result in longer life of our pavements. Our experience with Reclamite has been very positive. The comparison of roadways treated with Reclamite versus those that not, we see that there's less cracking. The centerline cracking and some of the alligator cracking is less when we use the Reclamite product. We've also noticed that during our winter months when we're doing our snow and ice management program that the pavement stays a little bit warmer, which helps us with our snow and ice management. Reclamite is sold through a regional distributor and they're considered a sole source product. Corrective Asphalt Materials, otherwise known as CAM, is our local distributor. Utilizing a municipal partnering initiative, which is a joint purchase done by the Northwest Municipal Conference, they have sought prices per square yard of product. So based on 65,475 square yards of application that we intend to put down on the pavement this year, 83 cents per square yard, we're requesting approval of a purchase order in the amount of $53,344.25. And staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona, you're on mute.
Yes.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 2 is an ordinance prohibiting the use of groundwater as potable water supply by the installation or use of potable water supply wells or by any other method in a designated area near 1301 West Irving Park Road in the Village of Bettsville, Illinois. Is there a motion?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, Joe?
Yeah, so from time to time, the village is made aware of potential underground storage tank leaks within the village. K&L Auto Services operated a gas station and an auto repair facility at 1301 West Irving Park Road. This is the northwest corner of Irving Park Road and Spruce Avenue. During the removal of the underground storage tank for new development at the facility, the underground storage tank exhibited signs of leaking that may have contaminated soils in the area. Once this happens, they are required to register with the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency under their LUST program, which is a leaking underground storage tank program. Owners are then required to remediate the area to limit the potential of contamination to the surrounding properties. And once they do that, then they are hopefully going to get a no further remediation letter, an NFR letter from the EPA. One of the requirements, though, to finalize that process is to get the village to pass a groundwater ordinance. A groundwater ordinance basically prohibits the use of groundwater as a potable water supply. Attached in the ordinance is an exhibit that identifies 22 different pins or parcels that there could be potential contamination, whether it's now or down the road, just from the contaminants getting into the ground and groundwater moving that contaminants into these locations. Historically, the village has been very supportive of these groundwater ordinance for two reasons. The first is that our existing potable water ordinances don't allow the use of groundwater as a water supply if a village main exists within 200 feet of that property, which is basically the entire village. The second reason is that we would prefer to be cautious and document any potential contamination for our future leaders as well. So therefore, staff does recommend approval of the proposed ordinance. This is one of those items too that if it was on one of our roadways, we also would probably have a highway authority agreement to document what we have to do on our property. But because it's Irving Park Road, they have to do that with the state. So again, this is our requirement here, our recommendation to approve this groundwater ordinance.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and ordinance is passed. Number 3 is a resolution to waive competitive bidding and authorize the execution of a purchase order to M.E. Simpson for the 2020 leak survey in the not to exceed amount of $15,600. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
You have a second.
Being a motion, a second, Joe, discussion?
Sure. So back in 2011, the village was ranked in the bottom 5 of municipalities in the state of Illinois for water loss. We had a water loss percentage of over 35%. Since 2011, though, with the very aggressive water loss reduction program, we've reduced our water loss down to its current 13%, but we have goals to get that down even further. So our real goal is to get under 10 and really keep it at a single-digit water loss rate. We continue to make progress on this with programs like this leak detection program that we're going to discuss here. Our annual program consists of utilizing its listening technology. A contractor hooks up listening devices to our fire hydrants and our water valves, and they basically listen for unusual sounding leaks in our system. And then they pinpoint those leaks for evaluation. Historically, this program has yielded about 20 leaks that are found each year in our system. They can range from larger leaks that we would never see. Sometimes we have a water main that's leaking into a storm sewer that we would never see otherwise. There's also a lot of small little fire hydrant leaks and things like that that we can fix just by changing out some bolts. So there's really 2 firms that do these type of leak surveys program in the Chicagoland area. They do it for almost all the municipalities in the area. Their scope is very consistent, but their approach for billing is different. Associated Technology Services, or ATS, they charge a flat fee per mile of water main, and then they upcharge you for every leak that they find to locate it. Based on our historical numbers of about 20 leaks, that's going to put their proposal in the range of about $16,300. M.E. Simpson does a different approach. They do a lump sum, and they will locate every single leak that they find and correlate it and mark it for us to investigate. Their lump sum charge is $15,600. So based on these numbers and our expectations, the village plans and would like to use M.E. Simpson again on this program. We have used both of them in the past. They both do very well for us in finding leaks, but we are recommending approval of the contract with M.E. Simpson for our 2020 leak program.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz? Trustee
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 4 is a resolution authorizing an emergency purchase of an HVAC condenser unit at the Edge 2 facility from Temperature Equipment Corporation, which is TEC, in the not to exceed amount of $11,045. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Sure. So one of our HVAC units, the air condenser units at the Jefferson Edge 2, failed on August 26th. This air condenser unit is a really critical component of our facility. It assists in making sure that our ice stays ice. So it was very important for us to go ahead and replace that as soon as possible. So our staff went out and purchased the OEM replacement product for that condenser. The total cost from TEC, who was the OEM distributor in the area, was $11,045. We have purchased this, we have installed it, it is up and running. As this amount is above our staff's approval threshold, we are seeking a retroactive approval of this emergency purchase. We do have money set aside in the budget for things like this, so we can cover that within the budget. So staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from the board? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Carmona? You're mute.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. We do not have anything under recreation. I do have a couple remarks. Village President report. The U.S. Census, the 2020 census is nearly completed. So if you have not yet completed your census, please do it today. COVID testing continues with VNA's mobile testing center on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the St. Alexis Church parking lot. Testing is by appointment only, so please see the website, our website, for more information. We are currently waiting on the state and county for guidelines pertaining to Halloween and trick-or-treating, so please monitor our websites for all the updates. And finally, a White Pines update. Last week, I signed the final IEPA loan documents for the water main replacement project. This project has been a long time in the works, and I'm very pleased to see it coming to fruition. The contractor reports that they should be breaking ground in the first phase, probably in the next couple weeks. A special thanks to all of the staff, all of our consultants, and the majority of the White Pines residents who remained committed to creating a workable solution to a longstanding project and a longstanding problem over there. Thank you guys very much for all your hard work. That's all I have for the village president's reports. Do we have any village manager report?
Your Honor, you're also presenting the Garden Club Award today.
Sorry, that was, yeah, I apologize. I didn't turn the page. It is, we will announce the 2020 Village of Bensonville Landscaping Contest winners, which was determined by the Garden Club of Bensonville. So we go from third to first, should we do, or how's that working?
I got 10 slides.
We've got all participants. We can just slowly click through them, and then we can announce the winners. So this is 819 South Addison.
Okay.
153 South Franzen. 118 West Green. 1036 Daniel. 245 Addison. 253 South Church. 810 West Green. 523 Grove, and last but not least, 340 South Mason. So, Your Honor, if you want to announce third place, second place, and first place, that would be wonderful.
So third place goes to 340 South Mason Street. It would be Merrill Sheslak. I'm sorry about that. I know I probably butchered that one. Want to go to second place?
Yep.
818 West Green Street, Tom Calabrese. And the winner for first place goes to 245 Addison Street, Nancy Panos. Congratulations, everybody. On behalf of the village board, I would like to congratulate all the winners and thank all the participants and members of the Garden Club of Bensonville. The winners will be mailed their certificates. So thanks again for participating.
Yeah, it's a great program we do. You know, so much of our daily life is harping on people for not maintaining their properties. It's really nice to congratulate people when they do maintain them. So, and also great partnership with the Garden Club of Bensonville, Bensonville's oldest social organization. So they've been around for over 70 years, and this is what they do. So they do it well. Thank you.
That concludes presidential remarks. Village manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Three announcements. With winter temperatures fast approaching, Nicor Gas is offering different energy efficiency programs for this winter. We encourage everyone to go to nicorgas.com or visit the village website. They've got everything from assistance in paying your bill to assistance in upgrading your home for efficiency. I took advantage of some of those rebates for energy efficiency, and my bill dropped considerably. So I encourage everyone to do that. The Department of Public Works has begun their sanitary sewer cleaning throughout the village this week. This is just routine maintenance. That's ongoing effort to keep our sewer free and clear of debris. If you want more information on that, that is on our website. And then finally, we are encouraging all of our residents to consider getting a flu shot before the end of October. Our partners at DuPage County Public Health are very concerned that a bad flu season combined with the ongoing pandemic could push significant strain on our healthcare system. The flu shot is a quick and affordable way to protect you and your family from the seasonal flu, while also helping ensure that our hospitals can treat our most at-risk members of the community. So Village Hall, for the village staff, we're encouraging everyone to do that. We're encouraging everyone else in the community, talk to your healthcare provider, stop by one of our, Jewel, CVS, Walgreens. They're offering flu shots, and if you have insurance, almost all of them are free. So please do that for your health. It'll help protect everyone else. That concludes my report, Your Honor.
Do we have any village attorney reports?
I have no report, Mr. President.
Is there any unfinished business to come before the board tonight? Is there any new business to come before the board tonight? I'm assuming no need for executive session.
There is no need.
So is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona,
Yes.
Trustee Franz,
Yes.
Trustee Fry,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax,
Yes.
Trustee Penicola,
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great night.
Yep. Thanks, you too.
Thank you.